Hello guys, welcome back to ESENtaxa. Andrea Vito here, and in this specific video we are going to talk about again on the Impatriate regime, and we are going to tell you something that a lot of people are not aware of, some issues that you might encounter if you apply the Impatriate regime and then you want to suddenly switch your activity and proceeding or moving towards a different business. You have to be very careful because then you might risk to lose this tax benefit. If you're new to this channel, ESENtaxa talks about how to optimize your taxation if you want to move to a specific country, and we help people to tax simulate their situation before ahead the relocation in order to avoid to waste a lot of time and taxes and money discovering that that specific destination was deal for them. We also have Open Academy, which we describe and we teach all the international tax matters, how it works in very easy manner in order for you to have a grown-up level conversation once you will approach a tax advisor or a tax or accountant basically in a country which you want to move into. It's important always to be aware of all the international taxation knowledge, especially in times of movement, of relocation between two jurisdictions, because you will come across about this knowledge, these topics, these terminologies, and it's extremely important to be aware of it. So in the description below the video you will have our Academy ESENtaxa, and you will see basically all information about our courses. And finally, if you want to have a consultation with us, just look at our calendar link with all the services, description and quotes. Now, going back to the topic of this video, it's extremely important to advise you about the fact that the Impatriate regime works only for freelancers that perform a high qualified professional activity. And the Impatriate regime is a tax regime under the Italian legislation. It's a regime that works if you're Italian tax resident, of course, if you fulfill all the requirements of the Impatriate regime, but you can work towards, you can issue invoices towards the rest of the world. There is no restriction on that. So if you relocate to Italy and if you have all the requirements to apply for this regime, 50% of your income is tax-free and only the rest is taxable for Social Security and taxes. And if you carry with you a child, this exemption rises to 60%. And this works for 5 years, okay? So very in short, this is how it works. But you must perform at a high qualified profession, which is listed to a specific website, public, on the Italian istat.it, which is basically, there are the list of professions you have to perform in order to qualify for this tax regime. But those professions are the classical professions that allows you to produce a type of income called autonomous type of income, which is in Italian is like the work of a classical freelancer. So it's the situation when you generate your professional income as only a single individual with his own skill, high qualified skill, running his business, giving consultancy, giving the best knowledge, the best know-how to a specific client. And this is how it works, and this is the way you use the Impatriate regime with a VAT number, with a business number. Instead, if you want to be an employee, you get hired under the Impatriate regime, but this is another procedure. But then in the case you are an employee of a specific company. In this case, you are an employee of yourself. We can call it also self-employed, but I wouldn't call it self-employed. You are more like a sole proprietorship or a freelancer. So basically a person that, thanks to his mind, his profession, is giving a consultant. Now, why is it so important to be focused on the description? Because if you shift your business, or if you add another business connect in parallel with what you are doing, you have to be very careful of what type of income you are producing now. Because if you're putting multiple streams of income, both of them professional incomes, of course, but if you're putting multiple streams of incomes, and if those incomes are classified in Italy under the Italian law system as entrepreneur type of income, because in Italy there are differences between entrepreneur stream of income or professional income run by one individual. You have to stay in the professional income run by an individual. You have to be a consultant, an IT developer, a marketer, a strategist, something. But if you, for example, want to run a bed and breakfast, or you want to sell stuff online, you're going to be an entrepreneur. And when you're an entrepreneur, the entrepreneur income is not subject to the Impatriate regime, which puts you under the risk of seeing your tax regime revoked. Okay? So be careful when you plan to move to Italy to understand if your target is just work as a professional for all the 5 years of activity. So, and then for 5 years you will benefit of this tax regime. But if you plan to add multiple business, because you're starting to make some money aside, you want to invest into another business, which makes sense. What has to be done, you have to split the two things completely. And the only way to keep your Impatriate regime safe is to run your business with a company, okay? So the company allows you to be a different subject, is a juridical subject, is the company that runs your business, which creates entrepreneur income, type of income. So this is extremely important. A lot of countries don't have this discrimination and differentiations between these two type of incomes, entrepreneur type of income, autonomous type of income. You have to be settled and stay in the autonomous one. Once the 5 years are done, are finished, then you can combine both incomes in the same person. So then you as individual, you can perform both type of incomes at the same time. So you don't need to open a company. So either you need to open this business as soon as possible, then you open a company in parallel with the Impatriate regime, and then you keep your Impatriate regime safe, or you wait 5 years, and then after 5 years you add another ATECO code, which is the new business description code, at the top of your existing one to run your business as an entrepreneur mode, okay? And then you can also avoid to open a company, which is more expensive, because you can run yourself the business, and you can hire people. Even if you're an individual in Italy, it's possible to hire people, okay? So you can basically have a payroll. Of course, it puts you at risk, because then yourself are accountable for all the business structure and all the risk of a business risk in general. So basically the company is always recommended. But at the beginning, the first year, 2 years of activity, maybe it would make sense to deduct all your costs of your employees or other subcontractors and run your business straight with a VAT number business as a freelancer, okay? And this is very helpful when you realize that your business is growing and then you exit the Impatriate regime. You don't have any tax benefit, but then instead of receiving this 50% tax-free exemption, you might hire somebody, which basically work at your place. And then you can deduct the entire payroll and you don't pay taxes, a lot of taxes as well, okay? So it's true that once you exit the Impatriate regime, there are very few things you can do to optimize your taxes, because then you become an ordinary Italian tax resident. The best things to do, of course, to have a company, because the only way to optimize several aspects of your taxes is through a company. Reinvesting or changing your money into a payroll, royalties, small part in dividends, reimbursement, etc., etc., several ways. It's a bit complicated, so it makes sense when your business is growing a lot, when you have above 100,000 euro as a revenue minimum, okay? So I hope I clarified this point. So when you apply the Impatriate regime in Italy, make sure that for the first 5 years you have this constraint. You cannot switch into another business which has nothing to do with the high qualified professions related to the Impatriate regime itself. I hope you like this kind of content, and if you're new in this channel and this is for the first time you watch this video, please subscribe to the channel, notification bell if you like the content, and see you to the next video. Bye.